Hello everybody, my name is Bragster and welcome back to TEW 2020 where we are in charge of Impact Wrestling. Now we are off the back of the Sacrifice PPV, which did really well, 62 rating there, and increased our popularity, so we're on the rise with Impact again, which is good to see. This is the post show for a pay-per-view. Now obviously those wrestling fans out there know that a post pay-per-view show is always the most difficult to get right, so I'm going to struggle with booking this one, especially as I don't have many matches set up either. I don't have, usually, especially with Destination X pay-per-view, I was mainly preparing for this pay-per-view, so I had a few matches lined up. I don't have any really for this one, so it's going to be interesting to see. I might put the X Division title match on there just to boost up the card a little bit, but we'll have to see. We're on the road to lockdown. That is the next pay-per-view. We've got 8 weeks until then, and I have a lot of big plans for lockdown. Lockdown and Slammiversary will be our two biggest shows yet, and they look immense. So yeah, we're on the road to that. If anything happens beforehand, I'll show you. If not, we'll just get straight on in with the show. Right, so we got some backstage incidents. The first one's with Rick Swann and Mick Foley, where Rick Swann was brought before the Wrestlers' Court, accused of not joining the Wrestlers' locker room for a night out, sentenced to buy drinks for everyone. Lovely stuff. He's currently annoyed Rick Swann. I'll have to look at that. Hopefully he's okay. Then I've got one between Scott D'Amore and Alex Shelley, where Scott D'Amore is passing on microphone tips to Alex Shelley. Even better, it makes him a main event star for the roster, which is great. And then we've got RVD passing on tips on selling to Wentz. So that's really good as well. Always good to see RVD passing on stuff. I've got a plan for where I want to go with RVD. So yeah, it's an interesting one because I kind of want to keep him around for this, but I don't really want to see him on the shows anymore. So I've got a plan to storyline reasons, write him off eventually. So yeah, but we'll get to that when it comes around. Right, I'll book the show and then we'll see what happens. Right, so I've booked the show and it's a bloody good show, I have to say. And like, usually with these shows I don't like it, but this one I really do like. I've managed to find a way of incorporating every future storyline into one storyline to then push and to then go off into multiple different directions, so I'm really glad about that. This time we have a couple of pre-show matches just to test a couple of people out because I'm not really sure on their abilities, and obviously when you're going into different feuds you kind of want to know what ability they're at, so you know how often to maybe put them in the ring, etc. So first pre-show match is Daga versus Tony Cage, where Daga defeated Tony Cage in about 10 minutes by pinfall with a Daga suplex. Daga got a 37, Tony Cage 20, that's not bad off either of those really. In a 32 rated match, not too bad at all, I'm happy with that. And then we have a 40 rated match where Daivari defeated Peter Williams in about 10 minutes by submission with the camel clutch. Daivari got 34, Peter Williams got 41, which is really good for both of those because Daivari's popularity is 17 and Peter Williams is 24, so maybe I should use Peter Williams a bit more. I just see Peter Williams as more like a backroom staff guy, whereas Daivari obviously I want to use a bit more, so I'm really glad that he's actually decent in the ring. So let's start the show. So we start off the show with a 59 rated segment where Jeff Hardy comes out and says he's glad he's back. Obviously this show is going to open with Jeff Hardy being back, and Crist comes out, it's like, no, it's a fluke, I wasn't ready, classic heelish mentality, and he was just like, and Hardy was like, but it was an open challenge, and Crist was like, that's not the point is I wasn't ready for you, you know, I was expecting some other legend, I wasn't expecting you. So it really put over Jeff Hardy, but it also put over the fact that, you know, Crist isn't done. So that sets up the main event. It will be a rematch between Jeff Hardy and Crist. A little bit of a rematch sort of thing post pay-per-view, which I don't usually do. Very rare I'll do that, but in this circumstance, as I said, I wanted to see what they can do with longer time, so why not do it here? Then there's a 52 rated match, that's actually really good off both of these guys, where RVD defeated TJP in about 15 minutes with the 5-star frog splash. TJP after this match looks distraught, he doesn't really know what to do. So I know where we're gonna go from here with TJP, and hopefully we'll build up a few wins as well. But I felt like RVD needed this win. He's still got stuff in him, like that 50 rating. He is at 52 pop, so he's performing below his popularity, but there's still a bit I can get out of RVD before I eventually get him off of the TV and off of the screen. But I'm really happy with this. Then there's a 60 rated segment where Ace Austin comes out boasting about the win. He's like, you know, I should have opened the show, not Jeff Hardy, this, that and the other. Matt Fulton's there with him and he's boasting and it's just like, you know, I told you it'd be inevitable and now it's reality. None of you believe me and now you should. And then Miro's music hits and Miro just bombs it to the ring. He absolutely bombs it. Ace Austin and Matt Fulton go out of there. Miro is furious, like he goes through the timekeeper's area and starts throwing stuff. He is mad, and I mean mad, which we might come to later, but Miro is pissed that he lost that title and Ace Austin got out of there as quickly as possible. Then we have a 41 rated segment where the North blame the Rascals and talk about their casual demeanour and their names, and it's just like, you know, they're just so lazy, you know, they lost us those titles. If it was a normal tag match, we would have won them. We need to get rid of the Rascals, this, that and the other. They talk about the fact that they're just too casual and, you know, their names are just, you know, it's almost as if they're lazy, this, that and the other. They really do rip into the Rascals here, but there's a reason for it which we'll get to next week. But yeah, they really rip into the Rascals here. Then we have a 46 rated segment in the Women's Showcase Tournament where Thunder Rosa defeated Serena Deeb in 60 minutes by pinfall with a reverse DDT. Thunder Rosa with a 45, really good stuff there. She's up there with Kairi Hojo, and Serena Deeb with a 34. I knew this would be the best match out of the two. The other one is Madison Rayne and Angelina Love. In this one, that will be on Explosion when we get to that. I knew this was going to be the better match. Although Serena Deeb doesn't have much popularity, she's so good in the ring, so why not put her on TV? Why not showcase? And these two are great together. So really good match here. 46, much better than I thought. I thought it might hit that 40 mark, but 46 really good. Then we've got a 42 rated segment where Rick Swann confronted Gargano about the attack he made at Sacrifice. Obviously, if you didn't see it, Gargano went ballistic and destroyed Sami Callihan after the match, and Gargano just went, look, you know, Callihan reminds me of my past. He basically reminds him of Ciampa, but obviously we can't reference Ciampa, so we just reference him in terms of words, and rather than, you know, actually saying his name. But he says that, you know, he reminds him of his past. He wanted to get rid of him. He wanted him out of the way so he can actually enjoy his time at Impact, which is what he came here to do. And instead, Callihan became a nuisance. There's a bit of tension between Rick Swann and Gargano, but it kind of explains that Gargano's not turned heel here. He just lost it in that moment. Obviously, shades of heelishness and a little bit of tweenerish mentality, but he's still a face. Then we've got a 49 rated segment where Rosemary is comforting Valkyrie backstage. Obviously Valkyrie failed to capture the title, so she's confronting her backstage and it's just like, look, you know, everything will be okay, blah blah blah. And then the door opens in the locker room and Johnny Bravo's back. Now we need to refresh our memories a little bit. Johnny Bravo got taken out by Havoc ages ago and was hospitalised, but nor Rosemary or Valkyrie, or apparently his best mates, came to help him. And now Bravo is back. You could see the surprise on Rosemary and Valkyrie's face. So what's going to happen here? 49 rated segment, nice stuff there. Then we got a 46 rated segment where EC3 talks about he needs to go for the title now. You know, he's since being in Impact, he hasn't really done much since returning. And he needs to go for that Impact World title that's held by Ace Austin at the moment. during this interview, Heath confronts him and is just like, look, I want to thank you for supporting me. You know, I couldn't have dealt with Myers and Rhino on his own. He said, I've still got unfinished business with Rhino, but I want to thank you for helping me, you know, really get back on track. And EC3 obviously is more than happy to help. Then we have a 47 rated segment where Brian Myers defeated Warhorse in about 11 minutes with a heat-seeking elbow after a distraction by Mike Bennett. Yeah, we'll get to that. Warhorse with a 46 rated in-ring performance, Brian Myers with a 43. They're very similar in popularity, so I knew this was going to be a decent match. And Mike Bennett got a great for his gimmick as well. Post-match, Bennett and the Butcher end up coming out. They attack the Warriors of Pain at ringside. They attack Danhausen. They attack Crazy Steve. Warhorse is obviously laid out in the ring from the match. And Mike Bennett and the Butcher drag him into the ring. They destroy the Warriors of Pain and they just glare at Brian Myers. And Brian Myers just is surprised that they're there, is concerned, but as soon as he realises they're not going to attack him, he attacks the Warriors of Pain as well, laying out the Warriors of Pain. And that, yes, that is the debut of Mike Bennett and the Butcher. We'll understand a bit more on their intentions over the next couple of weeks, but that is the debut of them. Maria Kanellis isn't here yet. She's still on maternity leave, but I wanted to debut them here. I felt like it was the right time. So obviously she'll be revealed as the brain of it all eventually, but we'll get to that when it comes. Then we have a 67 rated segment where Miro is still running down running around in the arena, and he runs into Moose. He literally bumps into Moose, but obviously Moose is so strong that they both just kind of glare at each other. And Moose just says, I told you so. I told you wouldn't end up with that title on his shoulder. And Miro loses it again. He brawls with Moose backstage. They're just going at it. Referees have to pull them apart and everything. Obviously, then it has to cut to the ring for the next match, which I think there's a match next anyway. It has to cut to that while these two are still brawling. Yeah, I thought there was a match next. It was a 56 rated match where Chris Bay defeated Cousin Jake in 15 minutes with the Triple C, which is defense number 12 now for Chris Bay. He's become a dominant champion. Chris Bay got a 55. He's main event caliber, Chris Bay is right now, which is elevating this X Division title massively. This whole situation with the Kingdom and everything has just raised the stock of this X Division. And to see that Cousin Jake got a 45 as well is amazing. Cousin Jake and Chris Bay have great chemistry. I'll have to take advantage of that in the future. Really happy with that. That's going to elevate the title so much. So much. Then we have a 56 rated segment to continue with the 56 ratings, where Elijah Burke and Chris Bay boast post-match about what happened at the pay-per-view and about obviously winning the match here. Willie Mack and Edwards come out together and Mack just rips into Bay. He said, I've had enough. He said, you know, I trusted you. I trusted the fact that, you know, our friendship meant more than this title, you know, meant more than this job. We were gonna, you know, have a really good match like we always did, like we used to do, and yet you ruined that. And he just rips into Chris Bay. This is now getting serious between these guys. Really good stuff here. 56 rating. This show's turned out to be a bloody good one. Then we got a 48 rated segment where the Motor City Machine Guns talk about their win and the possible contenders in the tag division. They said we've got loads of contenders. They name the Sons of Perfection, they name the Dieners, and reference the match previous where, you know, Cousin Jake on his own can contend with Chris Bay, so that, you know, as a tag team tandem they can easily compete with the Motor City Machine Guns. And talk about Melina and Dashwood, saying that, you know, they're still fresh tag team but they're still very good. Triple XL, they just named so many tag teams that could possibly face them in the future, and we're just gonna then lead to whatever match we have at the pay-per-view. And then the main event of the evening is a 64 rated match. I knew it would be a good one if we gave it time, where Jeff Hardy defeated Jake Crist in 18 minutes when Jake Crist was disqualified when Miro ran in and attacked Jeff Hardy. Yes, this whole thing with Miro going mental has led from the very start of the show all the way to the end, where he attacks Jeff Hardy. Jake Crist isn't happy at all. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, 64 rating here. I just let him go for it. I had him 67 rated performance by Jeff Hardy, 50 rated by Jake Crist. I just let him go for it. Obviously this interference finish might have hindered it a little bit, but it might have also helped it, I don't know. But 64 ratings, one of the best, if not the best match we've had in a long time. Jeff Hardy has been a great get for us. And then post-match is a 69 rated segment where Miro battered Hardy and battered Crist. Jake Crist wasn't happy, he went for Miro, but Miro destroyed him. He was going mental, he's throwing chairs into the ring, going absolutely berserk. Mick Foley comes out and is pissed. He warns Miro if he touches anyone else, he will suspend him immediately, as Miro will want to hear him out. Mick Foley creates a match. Next week will be a tag team match. The winners of that tag team match will then go on to face each other in a fatal 4-way the week after. So next week's tag team match is Johnny Gargano, Rick Swann, EC3 and Jeff Hardy facing RVD, Jake Crist, Eric Young and Miro. The winners of that will then face each other in the fatal 4-way match, and the winner of that fatal 4-way match will face Ace Austin at the pay-per-view for the title. So that's why I gave RVD the win earlier. But obviously some of you might be thinking, well, you said you were going to push TJP. I was, and I still am, but I'm going to put that on the back burner for maybe a little bit, just to allow RVD to be in this match and have a lot of popularity for it. So I'm guaranteed a 50 rated performance off of RVD, roughly, maybe even more. Bear in mind it's a tag match. So yeah, this tag match should be really good. It's some of our best stars, but no one will be punished by it at all, because it's, you know, 4-on-4, so it doesn't matter who loses, it doesn't really harm anyone. And that brings the show to a 64 rated show. Yeah, that increased our popularity in a lot of regions. I knew this show was going to do well. Beforehand, obviously, I was very concerned. Everyone knows that a post pay-per-view show is very hard to understand, very hard to get right. Somehow, I think every single time I've managed to make the post pay-per-view show our best show in the build-up to our pay-per-views. 9 times out of 10, I make it a brilliant show, because I feel like you always need a very, very good match, and I've set up a lot here. There's a lot of storylines that you don't know that are on the way. That big match next week sets up everything. Literally sets up everything going forward. In fairness, a lot was set up here as well for the pay-per-view as well. You won't even realise it was set up for the pay-per-view, but it will be referenced later on. Miro going berserk is another great thing as well. This really is the start of a lot of the rise of Impact, really. Like, we have got so many different factors coming in, a couple of debuts in, a lot of shenanigans going on, a lot of craziness, and yes, virtually a no contest in the main event, but it had to be done. So we've got some mail here where we've got viewing figures, which is fine. I'm going to see if we've increased in popularity. I don't think we would have at all, really. No, although we did increase in the southeast actually, so we've increased twice there, which is really, really good. So we're starting to really push ourselves to the top now. Our merchandise as well, we're starting to sell a lot. Look at Jeff Hardy's merch. That's going to earn us, basically he's just going to pay off his wages in merch by the looks of it. So that's really good to see. In comparison to last month's as well, we having just, yes, we've only got one extra person to get. That one extra person nearly getting $2,000. He'll probably will hit that $2,000 mark as well. That's just amazing for us and will be great going forwards. But I'll go to Explosion now. If anything happens, I'll show you. If not, we'll just get straight on into Explosion. Right, so looking at AEW Dynamite, they got a 67 rated show. And that was even with this massive 88 rated cage match at the end of the show. Bloody hell. And the big Adam Page match as well. 67 rating, and we got 64. That's really good. We might have beaten NXT this week. Oh, we got close. Where Onslaught defeated the Undisputed Era. What the hell is Onslaught? I want to know what Onslaught is. Oh my god, imagine that team of Pete Dunne and Ciampa. That would be amazing, actually. And their ratings was amazing, so yeah, I want to see that team now. But yeah, really good stuff there. We're getting close to and competing with these guys every single week now. Right, so I've booked the show. We've got Explosion here. It's a reasonably shorter Explosion than usual. Sorry, I'll just change the time of that one there just to make it a bit longer. It's a bit of a shorter one, but then again, I've also changed that one as well while we are at it. So I've booked Explosion. The reason why I'm laughing is because I've literally just done this intro and then I changed a few things. So we booked it. I'm really happy with it. It just sets up a few things ready for Impact and also puts a few people over, which I don't really mind. I think that's what Explosion should be used for. Everything's just starting to intertwine, and I'm really enjoying just booking all of it because everything just goes together so well, and it's just so easy to book. So yeah, let's just start the show, shall we? So we start off the show with a 46 rated segment where ODB comes out, but Young cuts her off immediately. Literally cuts off immediately with the music, and she comes up on the Titantron and she tells her that her name a time and a place. She said, next time you go on the mic, she said, I don't want to hear you blabber on. She went, name a time and a place. So ODB looks a bit like shaken up by it, but yeah, when we get that Su Yung ODB match, I do not know, but it's coming. Then we got a 37 rated segment where Madman Fulton defeated Brian Cook in about 10 minutes by submission. Madman Fulton with a 45, really good by Madman Fulton there, and Brian Cook with a 24. I'm really happy with that. Madman Fulton is a very good wrestler, I just don't use him that much. Speaking of which, he's confronted by Ken Shamrock. Two big badasses fighting just excited me, so that's what's going to happen. Shamrock just confronts him, looks him up and down, nods and leaves. So yeah, it's very obvious that this is going to be a good thing going forwards. Then we've got a 43 rated segment where the Sons of Perfection go up to Jake and tell him that he got so close, obviously fully sarcastic. Cousin Jake's going to go for him, and Dina stops him. He literally just holds him back, and the Sons of Perfection walk away laughing and chuckling to themselves. This is the plan. They're all trying to just get in the head of Cousin Jake, and at the moment it's working. Then we got a 44 rated segment where Serena Deeb congratulated Thunder Rosa. She shook her hand and was just like, you know, congratulations, the better woman won. These two have some great chemistry, and I think this is a feud that I'll go back to in the future, just because of how good they are together. But this is starting to really put over Serena Deeb, and I really like her, and we're not even paying her that much. Like, she's so cheap on this game, and she's so useful. I do not know why she wasn't used when she was in WWE, because she's amazing in real life and amazing on this game as well. Then we got a 30 rated match where Rhino defeated Terrell Dudley, one of the new Dudley Boys, or TNT, in 10 minutes with a pile driver. Rhino dominated this one. Obviously Terrence tried to get involved and help, just to kind of even the playing field, which is why it lasted to 10 minutes. Heath was backstage watching this one, but Rhino was dominant. I just wanted to see what the Dudley Boys could do on their own. I really like the idea that tag teams can be on their own, and before I watched stuff outside of WWE, I didn't realise that could be the case, but it definitely is the case. You can really show off people's talents as single stars as well as tag team talent. Then we've got a 37 rated segment where Havoc and Nevaeh were in a hype package, basically ready for their first round match, which will be in a couple of weeks. I think will probably be in a couple of weeks anyway. But it really is hyping up this match between the pair of them. You know, this this is huge for the pair of them, and you know, they've got a lot of history together as opponents, as a tag team. So this is just putting it all into one big thing and one big hype package, which I really enjoyed. I don't know why, but which is really good. 37. Then we got a 28 rated segment where Rohit Raju says that he's going to be on Impact, as it's such a big show with a massive main event. How could he miss it? So he talks about the fact that, you know, he will be on there, he will hold his little open challenge, and he'll win on while all eyes are on Impact. So it's quite a clever way of getting Rohit, who's been on Explosion quite often, on Impact. So it gets him on there, and as you can see there, you know his opponent. We're debuting him, but that will be on Impact. Then we've got a 52 rated segment where Eric Young says that he can't wait to get his hands on Rick Swann again, as it's not over between the pair of them. You know, this rivalry didn't end with Eric Young on top, and it was a tag team match, it wasn't a singles match. Rick Swann still hasn't beaten Eric Young in a singles match, so this is the whole thing, you know. Bear in mind, this has been going on since the start of the series. It still feels fresh because of Rick Swann's injury. We were able to prolong it to now. What I was going to do is have a blow-off match, then a massive break, and then go back to it at the end. But that massive break happened because of the injury. So it really has allowed me to put this match forward around now, closer to Slammiversary. And yes, that match has been going on for so long, but it still feels fresh. And then the main event of the evening is a 37 rated match where Madison Rayne defeated Angelina Love in 18 minutes with a raindrop. They both got 38 rated performances. Told you that this one would be the worst one out of the two, I just knew it was going to be. Madison Rayne does progress, so on Impact it will be Madison Rayne versus Thunder Rosa for that spot in the scramble match at the pay-per-view, which is obviously exciting. Who do you think is going to get that? Put that down in the comments down below, who you think should be in that match and who do you think will end up in that match. So that ends in a 40 rated Explosion, which is I'm more than happy with. I don't really care about the ratings of Explosion. It's all just about progressing those storylines and getting momentum behind people. And you know, I'm really excited with how this is going to go. I've planned it a lot. I really took some time because I knew that some people were going to have to step out the title scene. Some people were going to have to step into positions that they're probably not used to. So I really had to plan out, right, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. And I've worked out a way to get it all to work, and that match next week kicks off everything. All at once, it kicks off everything, and I'm really excited for it. I really don't know where it's going to go, and that's, well, I do know where it's going to go, but I don't know like which of these rivalries are going to do better and which ones are going to do worse, and I'm excited for that because I feel like there's so many different avenues. Like the women's division at the moment, it's rocking it. There's so many women that can win that scramble match, and once they're all in there you'll get a rough idea. But that Kingdom storyline's starting to hot up as well. We didn't really see much of Ace Austin, we didn't really see much of Moose this week, but that was kind of the point, you know. Moose had his little segment, obviously with the championship. We didn't see the Good Brothers either. So there will probably be more moments, especially at the start when I'm trying to get all these rivalries started. There will probably be moments where people might not be on the show or might miss out a bit more. You know, Fred Yehi and Jonathan Gresham weren't even on the show, which is probably a bad playoff of me, but I'll get them on the show next week at least. But that Moose one was on purpose, especially was on purpose. And that Ace Austin one a little bit, you know, Ace Austin getting chased out the building basically by Miro was a pretty good thing to do. You know, he had his moment in front of the crowd, but really does show how cowardly he can be. And then that Moose segment really, you know, there's unfinished business between Moose and Miro, which is the big thing. And then obviously Moose, where he goes from here, I know where he goes, but you guys will have to find out. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button if you like this video, and I'll continue to enjoy this series, which I really can see you are. If you're new here, please do subscribe as well, so you do not miss an episode. Comment anything down below. Where do you think these rivalries are going, and who do you think will be in that scramble match especially, and who do you think will win that tag match, because that's crucial to the rest of the series. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I shall see all of you in the next video. See ya.